going on with my system here? Okay, there we go. I was worried for a minute there. Like, no, come on. Let's have things work on a Wednesday morning. Jeez. All right. Well, I'm here. I'm doing it live. Rolling toward the holiday weekend. Lots to do. I hope that your preparations for the, upcoming, I hope you get a little break. I hope your preparations are coming together well. I hope you're not wasting too much time running around Pocatello trying to find Post Malone. Yeah, does your Facebook feed look like mine? Everyone in Pocatello apparently talking about the fact that Post Malone was in Pocatello last night. Supposedly, from what people are saying, going to be doing a little bit of hunting. One of my Facebook friends specifically said what area. I'm not going to say on air in case it's correct. We don't need mass, just traffic headed out to wherever that might be, bothering somebody. But, Post Malone, if you're listening to K-Bear, which you should be, he's from Salt Lake, and the K-Bear in Salt Lake ain't got nothing on us. So, if you're listening, feel free to stop by the studio. You can come hang out. Secure facility. Yeah, we're under lockdown here. Don't have to worry about the fans bursting in and bothering you. We could pre-record. And also, if people think you're here, turns out that was earlier. I've always said I thought it would be cool to meet Post Malone. And my fellow DJs here, I actually use Post Malone as an example of why you should always support up-and-coming acts. Here's a situation that I failed in regards to Post Malone many years ago. I guess it wasn't that many. Maybe like 10 years ago or so. Met a rock radio convention in Vegas. And one of the showcase performers was a guy named Andrew Watt. All right, so I met Andrew. Nice guy. He's just showing us his up-and-coming new tracks and such, and looking to get a little support from radio. And, I should have stayed in touch with the guy. Because just a few years later, all of a sudden, Andrew Watt is the man. The man. Producing Ozzy's latest albums and, producing and writing with, all kinds of artists. But namely, he's like Post Malone's right-hand guy, or at least was. Last I checked, I would think, probably still. So anyway, had I stayed in touch with Andrew Watt, who knows? Might have a connection to, Ozzy. Might have a connection to Post Malone. And Post Malone lives 2 hours away. I think from what I've seen, as far as interviews with this guy go, whether you like his music or not, I bet he's a fun guy to hang out with. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody listening, I know somebody's got to be taking him out hunting. All right? You better be a K-Bear listener. Anyway, just throwing it out there. Anybody got them connections? I would be down to hang out with him anytime. All right? I got to be the guy to convince him he needs to put out a rock/metal album. All right? He's done the pop thing. He's done the hip-hop thing. He's done the country thing. Did you see that set he did where he played Nirvana tracks? Did a full set at his house doing Nirvana songs? He crushed it. Guy needs to put out a rock/metal album. And I believe that I read he was in, or at least involved with, some rock and metal projects back in the day. As far as making some money in the music biz goes, I think he took the smarter route. I think he's doing pretty well for himself. But yeah, my entire Facebook feed. Post Malone's in Pokey. Look, he was at Wingers. Check it out. Look, it's me with Post Malone. I just want to meet the guy. I think he seems like he'd be pretty cool. So there we go. That's what's going on in East Idaho this morning. That's all the news. I'm sure every news source in the area, East Idaho News, Local News 8, they'll probably all have a story. Did you hear there was a celebrity in the area? It's big news around here. Nothing happens here. So anyway, that's cool. It's cool to see. Anyway, if you want to get a hold of me, I'm here doing it live, doing my thing, 208-535-1015. We're going to play tunes. We're going to talk about stuff. We're going to make it through Wednesday, and then we're going to make it through the rest of the week so we can hopefully all relax a little bit this coming weekend. I mean, I got my daughter coming, so luckily she sleeps in, or at least she used to. So I should be able to relax a little bit. I'm just going to have to spend way more money on food and prepare for the house that I'm cleaning up and tidying up to just become a mess, because that's what kids do. They mess up your place. Oh, already time to talk again. Hi, what's up? It's Victor Wilt. I don't know what I did to kill about 10 minutes plus right there. Was I abducted by aliens? A lot of alien stuff going on. Holy cow, are people losing their minds with this drones thing? Yeah, the FBI had to warn people in New Jersey, don't shoot at or point lasers at drones. I talked about this the other day. I knew people would start shooting at these, and they could just be airplanes, all right? Let's see. Is there any explanation yet as to what the deal with the drones is? Yeah? So a group of federal agencies on Monday night said the weeks-long sightings of low-flying drone-like objects in the night skies of New Jersey and other nearby states are likely a mix of misidentified legal aircraft and stars that pose no threats, even as a U.S. Air Force base reports reported drone sightings. Oh, great. So, no, we're not getting anywhere with figuring this out. What are they distracting us from? What are they distracting us from right now? Because if you've got multiple federal agencies like, nothing to see here. Oh, there is something to see here. It keeps people going nuts. I mean, go look at Twitter, all right? Take a look at Twitter. People are going crazy with the drones on Twitter. It's weird how social media has broke apart into all of these different, well, basically ideologically driven platforms. You know, you got the Twitter, or X, I should say, that is, you know, I mean, that's like right wing. You got Blue Sky, very left wing. Facebook, boomers. All right, I know it's not all boomers on Facebook, but Facebook to me seems to be the epicenter of boomer mentality, even from young people. Instagram, I guess I don't know. I don't know where that sits. And then you got TikTok for children, for young people. Sorry for those of you who are, 19 and you're like, I'm not a kid anymore. If you're younger than me, you're a kid. Like, Peaches get mad when I call him a kid. It's like, dude, you're like 28. You're still a child. I'm not going to try to claim that I was grown up at 28. Sadly. Some of us, it just takes a little bit longer to get your act together. I mean, I'm still working on it to a pretty decent degree, but, I got to forgive myself a little bit. Last couple of years been a little bit of a challenge, Currently in the process of being reborn. Anyway, 5,000 plus drone sightings in the last couple weeks. And let's see. In a joint statement, the Department of Homeland Security, FBI, FAA, and Defense Department said they determined the sightings to date are a combination of lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and stars. So this is probably nothing. Or else they're trying to cover it up. They're trying to cover it up. Anyway, don't shoot at things in the sky, okay? Don't. Please. Leave it up to the authorities to deal with it. It's not like these drones are shooting back. Okay, if we had drones in the sky that were shooting at people, dropping bombs, okay, be concerned. But something flying around in the sky, all right, let the authorities handle it, okay, people? I think I'm about due for a watch of Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny. Everybody's got their holiday movies that they enjoy checking out. My list a little bit different, I think, than most. especially where I live alone. I don't know, my daughter is coming to visit this weekend. Going to be rolling in at midnight Saturday night, which, all right, that's cool. It's a little late, but hey, I like staying up late on the weekends. So I'm excited for that. And she's got pretty good taste in movies, so I don't have to worry about getting stuck watching, I don't know, Frozen or something like that. Which Frozen is not a Christmas movie, right? I mean, it has a snowman, it has snow, it has cold stuff. But is there anything relating to Christmas? I don't know. It's been a long time since I saw that movie. You know, my kids were strangely like two of the only children I know from that generation that they just didn't get into Frozen, which saved me a lot of time that may have been spent listening to those Frozen songs. Do you want to build a snowman? Oh, I was never impressed with the songs in Frozen. Talked about this before. You know, Disney movies and Pixar movies and such, generally known for, you know, if they're bust into song, you got some pretty good songs going on. Frozen 2, much better soundtrack than the first one. But yeah, I think I'm due to watch some Christmas movies with Maddie when she gets here. Will she sit through Gremlins? I don't know, but she should, because it's a Christmas classic. There was a debate going on, I think Peaches said The Woody Show in L.A., and Woody, the host, I don't know if he's just trying to stir people up or what, but he said Gremlins was not a Christmas movie, if I recall correct, according to Peaches. Gremlins is absolutely a Christmas movie. There is no question about it. Same with Die Hard, but Gremlins is even more of a blatant Christmas movie than Die Hard. You know, you got a kid who gets a gremlin as a Christmas present. Well, okay, it's a mogwai at that point. It doesn't turn into a gremlin until you feed it after midnight. So, yeah, it's all Christmas. It's a great Christmas movie. What other Christmas movies do I just gotta watch? You know, it seems like you gotta watch Home Alone, the quintessential Christmas movie. Maddie doesn't like A Christmas Story because I showed it to, or maybe that's Taryn. I know that, you know, in A Christmas Story, there's a scene where the kids get in a fight, and that really disturbed one of the girls when they were young. So they hate A Christmas Story now, even though to me it's a Christmas classic. It's very funny. Very funny movie. Good stuff. I don't know. I'm going to have to make a list because I can't remember anything. Make a list. Check it twice like Santa. And yeah, find some good Christmas programming to dive into this weekend. Hopefully sleeping in and relaxing. And yeah, some time kicking it with my lady. That would be nice as well. That's all I need for Christmas. Hang out with one of the children and hang out with my lady. That's all I want for Christmas. Anyway, did I have a point to this break? I don't remember how I started off here. Well, let's just end it. We will get to Bill Murray here in just a minute. Not the celebrity, the artist, though I guess he's, the band's becoming a little bit of a musical celebrity. Anyhow, I don't know why I can't help myself when it comes to fighting with radio people. I was just checking back in on some comments on my post I made about radio stations playing music in the middle of the night. There's just no breaking through with radio people. It's kind of like trying to talk with somebody about politics. These folks just get trained and set in their ways, and you're not going to be able to change these folks from doing things any different than they did in the 70s or 80s. It can be a very stupid business, and I don't even know why I try. I'm the black sheep of the radio industry. I get called reckless. That's reckless programming. You're a maniac. Or, for those of you who think East Idaho is, boring and vanilla, I don't know how many times I've been told how unique our market is. Because we can have a successful rock station here and play stuff during the daytime hours like Lorna Shore. We're just very unique. There's nowhere else in America that that likes metal on the radio. We're crazy here in East Idaho. It's wild. We're wildin' up in here. So anyway, I should just give up. But it is fun to troll these people. And I enjoy making them think about things. Because even if they want to fight with me about it, you know that a little bit of that is going to stick in people's heads when I say it should be something to be ashamed of if you take new songs and only play them in the middle of the night. I got to dig into this guy's profile here. This guy says he has over 100,000 overnight listeners. What market's he in? Because 100,000, and okay, is that in a month? Is that in a day? Is that every overnight shift that you have 100,000 people listening? Let's see where he is. Dayton, Ohio. Okay. How many people live in Dayton, Ohio? Dayton, Ohio population. 135,000. What about the metro area? About 800,000. So what's that, about Boise? Let's see. Boise metro population. 764,000. So I would assume maybe in a month this guy has 100,000 listeners overnight. That's a lot of people listening overnight. Okay, that's a ton. This guy want to say 1/10 of the market listens to his station in overnights? Because you probably have 10 times as many people listening during the day. Does every single person in the Dayton, Ohio metro area listen to this guy's radio station? I ain't buying it. I ain't buying those numbers. I don't know. I guess it's possible. But if you have 100,000 people listening to your station in the middle of the night, imagine how many are listening during the day. Yeah, play those songs for those people listening during the day. If you're the number one station in the market, what are you worried about? Oh, if I play this song, everybody's going to stop listening. No, you're already... This guy told me he doesn't remember the last time they were number 2 in the market. Then stop worrying. You know, take some risks. Man up, bro. What are you afraid of? Weak. Anyway, I wonder if his station really is number 1 in Dayton, Ohio. Let's find out. Let's take a look here. I mean, I have no reason to doubt him. We're number 1 with, we've been number 1 with adults 55 to 64 for years. Let's see here. Come on, internet. What is up with my internet here in the building as of late? Now I can't pull up that website? That's annoying. I don't like that. All right, Dayton. Where's Dayton? Oh, they don't even list it on here, huh? Not big enough? It's got to be in here somewhere. No, that's Daytona Beach. Okay, who cares? Who cares, right? We do things right here. I don't need to be worried about what they're doing in Dayton, okay? But again, it's frustrating when you see people make statements and you go, it sounds like an exaggeration. Or also, okay, there you go. You've just proven that you should be playing these songs during the day because you're killing it. All right, stop worrying. You know, I might have to take a trip to the East Coast in June of next year so I can check out that band live, Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah. Not playing very many U.S. dates, at least that have been announced yet in 2025. They had to postpone a number of them because frontman Josh Homme was going through some type of medical issues. So good to see they're planning on being back in the road in about 6 months, doing a couple nights in Boston, Cincinnati, Madison, Wisconsin, Chicago, and then they go overseas. Going to be at Electric Castle in Transylvania. That sounds pretty fun. Anyway, can we get a big rock show announced for here? That'd be pretty cool. We've had a number of country shows announced. We've had Weird Al announced. Some kind of a magic show was announced. Aren't there some comics lined up? I don't know about that. Seems like there is. We need a big rock show. I can think of a number of bands that have not announced tours yet that I would love to see here. I'm not going to jinx it by throwing them out on air. And I have, lots of faith that we're going to get some awesome rock shows, because for the last 2 years, we've gotten lots of great rock shows. So, I'm still cool with it. We were talking earlier about Post Malone hanging out in the area. Looks like he is doing some hunting. Just barely saw a photo pop up from a restaurant in Aberdeen. This is when I need Crazy Joe around. My friend Joe. Rip to Joe. I miss him. But Joe would definitely drive into Aberdeen for me and get Post Malone on a cell phone. If he heard Post Malone's in Aberdeen, he would have rolled over there. And I don't know. I know we don't really play Post Malone on K-Bear. Play tons of them on Z103 and 105 The Hawk. But like I said earlier on the show, I think it'd be cool to meet the guy. He seems pretty chill. I've watched a number of interviews with him. How about Post Malone doing a show here? I know he tends to play like stadiums. But how about a one-off? You like rolling in and doing some hunting? I guarantee Post Malone at the Mountain America Center would sell out in 2 seconds. Probably do 3 nights. 3 nights. Anyway, if anybody's out hunting with Post Malone, feel free to drive him over to the studio, all right? If you're rolling in the Blackfoot area, somewhere in that region doing some hunting, we're right down the road, right off the freeway. Stop by and hang out. Secure facility. The doors are locked, all right? We won't tell anybody you're here till after the fact. All right, anyway. I'll keep you posted if we do get any shows announced around here, of course. You're going to hear it here first if there's anything big coming up, so stay tuned. I'm sure we'll hear something soon. So I think it was like a week or two ago that I don't remember what Peaches and I were talking about, but something led to me joining a group on Facebook called DIY Garage Bars, Man Caves, and More. I think there was like a real crazy one or something. He's like, let's go check this out. Anyway, now my Facebook feed is getting filled up with posts from this particular group. And it's, for the most part, a fine group. It's kind of interesting to see how all out people will go, dudes, in setting up their basement bar, garage bar, or man cave. I mean, some of these are just extravagant. Others, pretty basic. Now, my whole house is basically a man cave at this point. It gets dumber by the week. My daughter got me some cool lights for my TV, LED strips with a little camera. I'll have to post some video of this because it syncs up with the floor lamps and my Christmas tree. And so basically I can turn my living room into just a straight up disco party. It's awesome. But anyhow, some of these man caves, I look at them and I go, come on, dudes. If I was your homie, you're kind of driving me away from wanting to come hang out. I saw one this morning, and I've seen a number of these where people are hanging up things in support of their favorite politicians in their man cave. Boy, nothing screams let's party more than politics, right? This one guy, he had a particular decoration up. I'm not going to get into it. But then also on one of his mini TVs, he's got the news on. Hey, who wants to come have a great time? You want to hang out in my man cave and watch the national news 24/7, man? The news is always on in my man cave. Oh, like, dude, you can fire up some music videos or something. You got that pool table there. What, do you want to listen to the news while you play pool with your friends? No. Crank up some Electric Callboy or something. Get the party started right. What's going on here? Anyway, I don't know. I think I'm going to unfollow this group just because I don't even know why I followed it to begin with. It's not like I'm going to get inspiration and suddenly go take out a loan to rip my basement apart and completely redo things. Oh, this guy has a Tool flag on his wall. All right. Let's give him a like. This guy's a nerd. He's got Star Wars stuff hanging from the ceiling. Oh, yeah, look at this guy. Mastodon, Clutch, Pink Floyd. All right. I'd probably get along with Alex. He's got good taste. He's got Pussifer posters hanging on the wall. All right, he's got, is that an Adam Jones guitar? All right, this guy's got too much money. If you have the Adam Jones signature model Gibson guitar, you've got too much money. But maybe he just likes to have a good time. Yeah? Not blowing his money on, I don't know, medical bills or something like that. Buy all that junk while you're young, kids. Now, as a regular listener to this show, this might sound weird, but I promise it's true. I am trying too hard when it comes to doing this show. You may be like, dude, I hear you just babble on about stupid garbage all the time. Useless breaks, throwaway breaks, as the bosses would say. Well, I'm trying to find things to talk about that I would hope most radio stations have not yet dug into. Now, obviously, everybody's talking about drones, because that's in the news. But in recent weeks, there have been times where I took a look at what big morning shows are doing in big markets like New York, LA, all of these syndicated shows that get piped in from big cities into smaller towns around the country. And it just never ceases to amaze me that so many of them are still doing the most basic radio topics that are so easy, like this day in history. How about celebrity birthdays? What about today's stupid holidays? I mean, like all of them. All right, let's get into our entertainment news of the day. I don't know. Apparently should just be doing that kind of stuff. It's so easy. Why am I racking my brain trying to come up with, something from the Victor Wilt perspective that hopefully ends up being entertaining? I mean, these guys getting syndicated around the country. I don't know what their paychecks are like, but I guarantee they're better than mine. And yeah, they're all basically doing the same thing. Now, I know they get into other content, but if you've got a daily this day in history break, I don't know. To me, that's just so lazy. Now, if there's something weird and interesting that happened on this day in history that we can really riff on, sure, I might dive into it, but daily? I mean, okay, what did happen on this day in history? Should we see if we can find out? I'm sure if we Google this day in history. See, I can do this every morning, first break of the day. What happened on December 17th? Oh, see, that was yesterday. Yo, we need to go with today, the 18th. All right, well, we play that band Kubla Khan on our metal programming? Well, back in 1271, the Mongol Emperor Kubla Khan renamed his empire Yuan, making the start of the Yuan dynasty of China. See? Look at that. I even tied it in to something we do, playing Kubla Khan. I played Kubla Khan earlier on the show when I did 1 minute of metal with Ant Pile 2. Let's see what else we have. The world's first full-scale nuclear power plant for peacetime use only begins to generate electricity at the Shippingport Atomic Power Station in Pennsylvania. This is so easy. All right, we got somebody calling. What, do you want me to shut up, huh? K-Bear, you are live on the show. Please keep that in mind. Who's this?
This is Bryce Cook.
Bryce, what's up, man?
Dude, keep doing your stuff. I don't want to hear about national videos. No, it's fun. Like, sometimes I hear, like, the Florida news or just weird things around, and it makes my morning driving to work.
But it'd be so much easier for me, Bryce, if I just looked at the list of stupid holidays and just read them out. I don't know about this whole having to think and be creative thing. It's rough at 7:42 a.m.
Maybe have somebody come, maybe make it so that people call in with something that's kind of freak news.
Yeah, I do need to start doing better with caller-based segments that aren't traffic school, asking questions, getting people on the air.
Or put it on the website and have people submit something.
Oh, I did go all out with a very basic radio question on Facebook today with, what do you want for Christmas? I figured that would get some action.
Well, what I want for Christmas is all year long, I can hear the cool stuff in the morning that you talk about and just enjoy my day and not hear the same old repetitive things that other radio stations do. Because K-Bear 101, that's what makes us K-Bear 101.
Well, thanks, Bryson. Hopefully Jade doesn't plan on firing me so you can continue to get that into 2025. So.
Yeah, well, I hope Jade doesn't either, but he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he's pretty nice. We get along pretty good for the most part. There have only been a few times when we got in dumb arguments, and then after the fact, we go, what were we arguing about? That was dumb. I won't get into the details.
I think it would disappoint a lot of listeners, though.
As far as I know, I'm cool with the bosses, so we're all right. I think I'm in good standing here. So,
but no, people love to hear the strange, weird world that we don't hear about. You know, just the crazy news from other states or something somebody did that was dumb. It's interesting.
Well, I'll certainly not try to claim that digging into wacky news is anything original. But as you're a fan of crazy news, we'll get into freak news here in a few minutes, Bryce. So,
all right, yeah, and just keep saying what you want to say.
For the most part, I do. There are certain things I hold back on, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Bryce.
Some are not for the ears of others.
Hope you
have a great holiday and keep being you.
Hey, thanks, Bryce. You have a great holiday as well, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Peace. All right, look at that. I got my affirmations for the day, thanks to Bryce. I always appreciate a verbal pat on the back, so thank you. Hopefully freak news don't suck. That's coming up in a few. Freak News, powered by Grease Monkey, voted Idaho's best oil change. I am Victor Wilt. Let's roll. All right. Hey, you want to get into the Guinness Book of World Records? I mean, we got that guy David Rush in Boise, who breaks a record like every other day. Well, David, how about this one? The most number of cuts of a cucumber held in a person's mouth with a chainsaw while blindfolded in 1 minute. Yeah. So you got one guy laying on the ground, he's got a cucumber in his mouth, and then his blindfolded friend just starts chopping slices of cucumber with a chainsaw. There you go. David Rush, you want to impress me? I think you need to get a little bit more death-defying. Anyway, there's video of this online. Kind of terrifying. I mean, they get really close to this guy's face with a chainsaw. This is a chainsaw, all right? Nobody wants a chainsaw near the face. But hey, you can get into the news for 1 day. 1 day. And then you'll be in the Guinness Book of World Records, which I don't think they actually print anymore. Or if they do, there's no way they're putting all of the records in the printed version. You're going to have to check that out online. All right. What else do we got going on here? You know, talking a lot about drones. Well, a man in New Jersey was busted using a drone to drop dye into Atlantic City pools and turn the water greenish yellow. There we go. The drone mystery solved. Shoot it! Shoot it out of the... Don't shoot at drones, Kate. No lasers, no guns. Stop it. You're gonna hurt somebody. Let's see here. Also, if you were thinking of building a nuclear bunker, you don't need to. They're not gonna help you. I mean, I'm sure it's fun. It's a fun hobby. You want to build a real weird man cave, you build the underground bunker. But as far as like nuclear fallout goes, if, you know, scary to think about, but if the world ever engages in nuclear war, you're going to be just as well off with a basement, according to the news. So it's good to live in East Idaho where basements are a thing. You know, you folks in Arizona listening to the show, You don't see a lot of basements out there. Any areas that are lacking in the basement front, you got to get out of there. You got to get to where you can get yourself a basement. Then you don't have to build a nuclear bunker. Just, stay away from the walls for a few days and, oh, geez. You ever watched any shows about nuclear fallout? Pretty scary. When's Fallout 2 coming? Fallout Season 2. That was really good. All right, let's see. What else do we have going on here for Freak News? Powered by Grease Monkey. People forced to use a bucket as a toilet in the UK. All right, well, good to be living in the US. Had to use a bucket 100 times since 2011. This poor guy, John Grimley, had to store the waste in a bucket at the end of their garden until their toilet was working again. I guess plumbing issues, How old's the plumbing in the UK? It's got to be pretty old. Anyway, just trying to give you something to be grateful for today. If you were able to flush your toilet and you didn't have to use a bucket, you're having a good day. There are people who, they always have to use a bucket. They've never used a toilet. They don't have running water, all right? Aggravating as your day might be, it could be much worse, okay? Jade tried to run out during that song. What, not cheery enough for you? That's Christmas music.
I need some wake-up juice, man.
All right, well, I'll get you something nice and upbeat here in a minute.
Wake up.
Okay, you want some chop suey? All right. System of a Down's good wake-up music, for sure. So, since you're the boss, just want to let you know, I've been antagonizing radio people online again.
Weird.
Just, want to give you the heads up. If you get a call from somebody higher up in the industry, what's wrong with your guy? Why is he stirring things up? I'm just preemptive striking it here, letting you know I did do that. So I got into the topic of overnight radio play in the Radio Peeps group.
Yep.
And this one I'm getting a lot less response to.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah. So
why are you bringing up old stuff, man?
Because it's still going. It's still going. I'm getting some responses here. So this guy named Kevin Fodor, he's from Fodor. Maybe it's Fodor.
It's kind of fun to say Fodor.
It's Fodor. Fodor.
All right.
Kevin Fodor. Well, anyway, he's from Dayton, Ohio, which is a market about the size of Boise, from what I've seen as far as metro area goes. So he chimes in, oh, yeah? I have over 100,000 overnight listeners on a Superpower Class B that might take issue with that. I can't remember the last time this station was number 2 in this medium market.
So why don't you play it everywhere then?
And that's what I responded to him. I'm like, wow, if you have that kind of cume is your cumulative audience, the numbers of people listening. So, like, if you have that kind of cume in overnights and are consistently the market leader, why would you be worried about playing new music during daytime hours? If your song choices aren't driving away those overnight listeners, they should be fine to expose the rest of your audience to.
Yeah.
So he writes back, it's a way to test, and he got back to me like within minutes. Okay, so he's awake right now. This was earlier today that I responded to this. And he says, it's a way to test audience reaction to new material. We actually do gauge that sort of thing. So I wrote back, I'm like, okay, just curious as to how you're testing audience reaction in overnights. Do you have live jocks in the studio? Are you using M-scores? App polling? I'm just asking. Do you think he's responded to any of that?
Nope.
No, of course not. He could at least lie and be like, yes, I'm using M-scores. And then I could fire back, well, it doesn't look
if
like...
he's not in the top 50, he's probably not doing M-scores.
No, he's not. He's in Dayton. He's not under a PPM market.
Yeah.
So it's not that. I highly doubt in Dayton that they have overnight DJs.
He's not getting money for auditorium testing, which is a bunch of crap too.
Yeah, and app polling, like in the K-Bear app, you can thumbs up or thumbs down a song. Now, if I was to base our programming on that, we wouldn't play anything.
Yeah.
Because every artist is hated by somebody. We could put out a new song by Metallica and be like, what do you think? And probably 20% of people go, I hate Metallica. So I just wanted to know, like, how are you really gauging overnight listener feedback? Nobody's gauging overnight listener feedback. Nobody. And M-scores are the dumbest way to gauge songs. That's how the big markets have to do it.
Worse than diaries.
Yeah, because in big markets, they give, a handful of people these meters that listen to what monitor what you're listening to. There's little signals in the background that lets the meter know what station you're listening to. Just like that. Just like that.
Okay.
I don't know if it, but anyhow, so if somebody tunes out during a song and you have, the amount of meters in these markets is so small.
Oh, yeah.
But there are songs that will just get booted off the radio because, a handful of meters, they change the station. What if they just got to work?
Walk into a grocery store.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the real funny thing about PPM is if you're in a store and there's this background noise that you're not paying attention to, the meter's going to pick it up. So
And
they get credit for you listening to that station. Like, it'd be like if I walked into the dentist office, and they're playing Classy, but I didn't know it was Classy. I have no idea. I would never tell anybody. Well, earlier today, I was listening to Classy because it's just background noise. But the stations get the credit for that. So it's always these very safe stations that seem to do really well in the PPM markets because they play them at businesses. That was another argument I got in with somebody.
K-Bear's safe.
K-Bear is safe.
You can play that anywhere.
But
your mom's Christmas party.
Yeah, but a lot of businesses, they hear a little bit of yelling and they're like, oh, okay, we can't do that. Let's turn on the country station and make the employees suffer. Rock stations that are trying to be an at-work format
are failing.
You're wasting your time. You're completely wasting. I would love everybody to be able to listen to K-Bear at work, but if we tried to program it so it was all tame and could be background noise, then nobody's going to be listening in their cars.
Such a poser.
Anyway.
That's another good word.
Poser. That's a radio word of the day. Posers everywhere. So anyway, that's my antagonization of the industry today, just in case somebody calls you. Okay.
But
I've been being
You know
nice.
how much I'll care if they call?
I hope enough to tell me about it. Well, I was just going through all of your posts that have piled up in the K-Bear 101 Idaho Rock and Metal group that need to be approved before they end up on the page. And I've never heard this story, but I found it pretty interesting. If you've ever wondered when people started doing the old, hey, everybody hold up your lighters at a show, which has now changed to hold up your cell phone. How did this start happening? Now, I don't know if this story's true, but this guy's explanation makes sense, and I found it pretty cool. So let's check this video out here.
Do you know how
I got to figure out how to... I wish you could pause a reel. Like on Facebook, you cannot just scroll to the part of the reel you want to begin with. It's kind of like TikTok. You just have to start at the beginning. All right, let's try again here.
Do you know how the holding your lighter up at a concert thing originally started? Back in 1969, there was a big rock and roll festival held in Toronto, Canada. And in addition to the standard lineup of artists, there was one very special guest performing that night. The superstar was playing for the very first time without his band that made him famous, and he was nervous. So nervous, in fact, that the promoter thought that he might back out of the gig, so the promoter did something that made rock and roll history. He walked out onto the stage in front of the huge crowd, and he asked the audience to please give the performer a warm welcome by lighting your lighters and putting them in the air. The scared artist later said that watching the thousands of flames in the arena in the dark was like a religious experience. It calmed him down, and John Lennon could do his performance.
Very cool. Very cool. So again, I don't know if that's true, but it rings true, and I thought that was pretty sweet. It also made me want to listen to the Beatles. I know I played some Beatles the other day, but come on. Well, I was going to say, who doesn't like the Beatles? I know Stuart don't, but I don't care. That's right. I am the walrus. If you listen closely, you might hear some messages that make you think Paul McCartney was replaced by a lookalike. As we all know, politicians just lie relentlessly. So I don't know if I believe this guy. Senator Doug Mastriano. I'm not sure, because I didn't do the research, where he's located. Let's see here. Senator for Pennsylvania's 33rd Senate District. Okay, so Doug Mastriano, like many people in the last week, concerned about drone activity in the eastern part of the country. Now, he posted a picture that it says this: breaking news, crashed drone in Orange Beach retrieved from water and taken to undisclosed location for further investigation. All right, and he talks about how it's inconceivable that the federal government has no answers nor has taken any action to get to the bottom of the unidentified drones. The fecklessness of this administration was on display last year when a Chinese surveillance balloon was allowed to fly over the entire U.S. before being shot down. Such should be viewed as a threat to our nation and citizens, and action is long overdue. We have recourses and assets in our arsenal to get answers, and on and on. So a very serious post, right, as far as what he had to say about this picture of a drone that crashed in Orange Beach and was retrieved from the water. Now, I'm looking at the picture here. This is this is pretty funny. It's a TIE fighter from Star Wars on the back of a trailer being towed by a pickup truck. Like, it's big. But it's a TIE fighter. Yeah, from Star Wars. Looks like Darth Vader's ship. After this, and after news organizations started calling this guy out, he's like, hey, obviously, I knew it was a joke. Come on. So, some people are humorous on their social media pages. So, I scrolled through the last month of this guy's posts, like, okay, maybe he's just a jokester. You know, maybe he's got a sense of humor, which is rare for a politician. I'm not seeing any other posts remotely similar to this. So I don't know if I believe that he did not know this was a Star Wars prop replica. All right? I ain't buying it. Because politicians lie so often. You know, can you imagine a politician coming out and going, oh, sorry, I made a mistake and I didn't know that. No, they just always make up excuses, dance around the issue. So then he starts posting all these other Star Wars related things and like a flying, Amish wagon. But that's all the funny. I think he's covering up for the fact that he's never seen Star Wars, and he really thought that was a drone. It'd be pretty awesome if the drones flying around were TIE fighters. That'd be interesting anyway. But I don't know, maybe he's telling the truth. But I just don't think I'm buying it. Not based on his social media history that I looked at. Maybe I didn't go back far enough. But I did see another article that said that Americans are getting dumber. IQ decline across 4 out of 5 key areas. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the graph here, since 2006, boy, we're getting a lot dumber. And that one I do believe, because I have social media. You need the evidence to back that one up. All you got to do is a little bit of scrolling. If you're planning on committing a crime, and trying to figure out how to get away with it, going to the internet and asking, hey, let's say you're on the FBI's most wanted list. What's your hiding plan? That's a good way to get yourself caught in advance. That's a real question on Reddit right now. And first thing I thought, oh, this person's looking for tips. Well, let's see. Let's say I was on the run from the police. Well, step 1, got to get rid of that phone, right? I'm sure Lieutenant Crane's tracking me everywhere I go. He has my phone number. I actually am not going to give out tips for how to get away with crime on air. That seems like, unethical broadcasting. Here's what I think. This would be a great idea. No, let's see what people are saying they'd do to hide from the FBI. Because I would imagine it's pretty hard. All right, there's cameras everywhere. How people get away with anything anymore. I just don't know. Because, yeah, I mean, you could be in the middle of a neighborhood, in a small rural town. There's going to be cameras catching you everywhere you go. All right, the top comment, well, I'm not going to eat at McDonald's, that's for sure. That does seem like, from what I've read in the news recently, a good way to get yourself caught if you're on the run is go to McDonald's. Get yourself a Big Mac. Let's see here. After analyzing all the people on the watch list now, I learned just go to Mexico and hope not to get extradited. See, but if they know where you're at, you're sort of caught. How are you going to actually hide out? Let's see here. This person says, well, there's no way I'm actually evading them for long, but before I got arrested, I'd at least get a friend to rat me out so they could claim the reward. Now, the person who ratted out that shooter guy, the adjuster, I think they were a McDonald's employee. I read an article the other day that explained why they probably won't get any of that reward. And, well, I didn't read the whole article. My girlfriend told me about this. I dived in, read a little bit, and there are just so many little things that have to happen, including the guy getting, actually convicted of the crime, that years down the road, because that's how these things play out, they take forever. Chances are pretty slim that person's actually going to get a reward. So, yeah, you might not want to have your friend rat you out. All right, they're probably getting no money. Let's see here. Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Is there just nobody there? I mean, I know that when I think about places I'd want to go, Michigan's pretty low on the list, but where are you possibly going to hide out? So far, I'm not seeing any responses here that I think are going to be successful. Let's see, this person said, when I play hide and seek with my kid, I just lay down and put a blanket over myself and stay really still, and it's like I'm invisible. So I don't see any reason this wouldn't work on FBI agents. Okay, all right. Let's see, my parents owned a cabin in Maine when I was young and was flabbergasted every visit how desolate it was. I think that's the only way you might be able to hide out for a while. You're going to have to be off-grid and self-sustaining. You're going to have to be living like those kids in that show, Yellow Jackets, out in the middle of the woods. Who knows how far from any type of civilization. And you're going to have to, again, hunt and find water. It's going to be very difficult. You're going to have to be living like Walter White toward the end of Breaking Bad, middle of the woods, New Hampshire, to get away with it. And then eventually, you start going crazy. Like the kids in Yellow Jackets, or like the Unabomber. It doesn't seem to end well for people who live completely sheltered from any contact with society in the middle of the woods. All right? Who knows what type of stuff? Forget worrying about drones. You're going to be dealing with the interdimensional beasts in the woods. Who knows what you're going to see? Have you ever watched Survivor Man with Les Stroud? He talks about how just being in the woods by yourself for a week, you start going crazy. So, yeah, I think the ultimate message of this is don't commit crimes. You don't want to be on the run. You're going to get caught. So, yeah, it's just not worth the effort. Okay? All right. Anyhow, 9 o'clock already. I dig it. Very excited to get this day and the next 2 days done with. So let's just keep mowing ahead. Here we go. One more hour of show. Hopefully I can find more content. Oh, Jade, the buttons aren't working. Yeah. I think I might need to dive in and give the new Opeth album a number of additional listens. Because right now, I think Poppy is leading the charge for my favorite album of the year. Now, I don't know if I like this album quite as much as I Disagree, which is a masterpiece. But there are tons of really good songs on it. There have been a number of pretty good albums that dropped this year. Queens of the Stone Age, I really enjoy their new album. I haven't listened to it enough times for it to fully grow on me like some of their previous records, so I don't know how much I truly enjoy it yet. It's kind of the same boat with Opeth. Opeth is one of the greatest bands of all time. They are so good. Last night, I watched a performance from, I believe it was from Bloodstock, of the band performing Deliverance a couple months ago. Deliverance is the song that got me into Opeth. My homie Joe, who I talked about earlier on the show, R.I.P. to Joe Hamilton, played me the Deliverance album. And he's like, I bet you're going to like this, because it kind of reminds me of the type of stuff you write in the Reptilians. Now, that's not really a fair comparison for Opeth, all right? Because they're a few levels above us. Many levels. But anyhow, he showed me that album, and I was hooked immediately. It was a game changer. Just so good. So good. And watching the performance of that song last night, I'm just like, man, these guys, they're just so fantastic. So if you haven't dug into the Opeth catalog, you know what? I think I'm going to play Deliverance after the break because it's such a good song. I even paid homage to that song at the end of a song I wrote called The Mentalist. And the outro of that song, even though the riffs are completely different, the just, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? I mean, riding a section of riffs to ultimate satisfaction. That was kind of what I aimed for with the end of The Mentalist, and it's definitely inspired by the ending of Deliverance. Again, completely different riffs, but I don't know. You'd have to check out both. And I don't know if you want to sit down and listen to my 27-minute song that me and the homies wrote years ago. It's really good. Probably the piece of music I'm most proud of. Anyhow, Opeth Deliverance coming up after the break. If you're listening to the show on demand, this is why you should listen live. Because you get to hear great music that I guarantee no other station in America is going to play a long, heavy Opeth song on the morning show. But I do what I want. And that's what I want for Christmas. Opeth on my show, and I can give myself and you that gift. Hang on. That one's a 10 out of 10. Opeth Deliverance. And like I said, I love that song so much that I even paid homage to the end of that track on a song me and my band wrote a long time ago called The Mentalist. I actually use that part of the song as a music bed. You might have heard it on the station many times over the years. Here, quick sample. So as you can see, completely different, but yeah, just kind of goes and goes and goes. Guitar players know what I'm talking about when a riff is so satisfying that you just loop and loop and loop away. Oh yeah, feels great. Nothing like a riff that is satisfying as it pours out of your hands. So anyway, now. Just been on a little bit of an Opeth kick since last night, and I hope you enjoyed it if you'd never heard that band before. I'm sure there are some folks going, God, when was this song going to end? Sorry, you need better taste in music. I'm trying to help. Sometimes I like to bring myself down, Peaches.
Sure,
early in the morning, make myself feel a little bit sad.
Right. Every time Johnny Cash Hurt comes on, I regret my previous decisions about, skipping out on things or whatever it may be. Yeah. Sit here crying like Peter Griffin in the car.
Just bawling in the studio. I didn't quite get to that point, but I decided to read through a post on Reddit. Has your father ever said, I love you? And if yes, how often?
Multiple times. Every time I end the call with him.
That's good, Peaches. And you should feel very lucky because after reading through this thread, there's a lot of people whose dad has never said it once. Some people, my dad's never given me a hug or anything like that. Wow. Dads, quit being pieces of crap.
Right,
Jeez.
no kidding.
It's very important to your children to know that you care about them.
Definitely. I do that with my friends already. I can't imagine me as a dad.
I don't know. I think some dudes get kind of weird when it comes to things like saying I love you and hugs. You know? There's guys like, you know, my homies, I'll give them a hug. They walk in, hey, go, get over here, bro. Nice to see you. How you been? But other dudes, they'd be like, whoa, don't touch me. Now, I am one of those don't touch me people if you're not a close homie. You're like randos. I guess it depends.
I've noticed that it shows.
I guess it depends. Sometimes people, well, with listeners, I'm usually down to give a hug. You know,
You kind of do like this little like I don't want to, but I'm forced to kind of type
well,
of.
I've got a little bit of a paranoia, especially during winter months, about getting sick. Like, there's this bug going around that's upsetting people's stomachs right now.
Yeah, I've seen that. It took over L.A.
Yeah, and this morning I'm like, oh, my stomach's bothering me a little bit. Oh, jeez,
Don't
I got
overthink
the
it.
norovirus.
Nothing will ever be as bad as that time I had the spinach at that salad bar, and I just, man, that was awful.
Yeah, norovirus is bad news. But no, listeners who have, asked me for a hug, I'm just playing. I'm
Asking
fine
you for
with
a
giving
hug.
hugs.
Where my hug at?
Where my hug at, Victor? Where my hug at? But if you're a dad, or if you're a mom, I'm sure there are moms out there who don't tell their kids they love them. Just tell them, okay? Because you do. Well, maybe not all. There are some people out there that, I don't know. I don't know how you couldn't love your children unless they were just horrible children.
Yeah, my mom, no matter how bad I am with those, with my parents, every single time I go, big hug, Mom, over the phone before I go to bed, she's like, big kick. And then
Kick?
And then she hands the phone
All right,
up.
well, that's fine. See, if you've got your own thing going like that,
Right,
all
yeah.
right. But yeah, I always try to make sure to let my girls know how important they are to me and stuff.
Just one of them. Just one of them. That's
Now, don't you start this again, Peaches. Don't you start this again. So, I don't know. Some people may just not think to do it because, again, it makes them feel uncomfortable. Like, I got friends that'll be like, love you, man, And then I've caught myself because I tried over the years to get myself to express that more often. I've said it at times that I go, ah! Like, there was a Devin Townsend interview I did years ago where I was like, love you, man. And then I'm like, oh, geez, why did you say that? I just wanted to just punch myself right in the face.
You said that to Devin Townsend
I
of all
did.
people?
You're in the heat of a conversation and, hey, thanks, man. It was great to have you. Love you, man.
I feel like he would
Just
say
like
it back,
that.
though. He's super nice.
No, well, he didn't say it back. And I got the vibe that it was like, oof.
I'll say it to Matty Mullins today. See what he says.
Yeah, do it. Please do, Peaches. Let's just start throwing that at every artist. I don't know. I guess if we're interviewing a female artist, you don't want to do it. It might be weird.
Yeah, I think if you said that to like Lizzie Hale,
Yeah.
she already has.
I love you, Lizzie. Well, okay, wait. You got to say it a little different. Love you, Lizzie.
The worst person.
Even
the
then,
worst
it sounds
person
bad.
I would think to do it to is Courtney from Spirit Box because she's against the whole like men hitting on her type thing. I can't imagine like I love you, Courtney.
I'm sure that most female artists are sick of dudes going, wow.
Well, I think like Heidi from Butcher Babies, I think would say it back, right?
Probably.
Probably. I don't
Butcher
wanna- I don't
Babies
wanna
are pretty
assume
chill.
anything,
I
but-
mean, they're very, very nice, Butcher Babies. We've had them in studio, and we did a promotion with them where we went out and did the zombie bus paintball thing where we were all shooting zombies
That'd be
with
fun.
paintballs. It was a great time other than being just frigid cold. It was a bad October.
You could say it to Chris Motionless.
Chris, yeah, I think it would be fine.
Yeah.
He'd be cool with it. But what if I said it to Ronnie Radke? Do you think he'd be...
I don't think he'd care. I
don't think
he'd be,
so?
Yeah, I think he'd be nice enough to say it. Or be like, oh, that's cool. Or he'd say something like that.
Something like that. I mean, there are some guys that you just know it's going to be okay. But again, it just slipped out when I said it. It was just a part of conversation. And I felt so awkward. So...
Yeah, we don't say
Because-
that stuff in our friend group. Like one time, my friend Bryson asked me, "Hey, you keeping it fresh?" And I just went like Subway, and then somehow that became like a phrase we go to keep it fresh.
Gotcha.
So say that to an artist. Keep it fresh.
Yeah, keep it fresh. I think that's fine. I do think it would be funny to test it, but you might just burn bridges left and right. You're like, that dude's a weirdo. He told me he loved me.
Somebody end up in like one of the subreddits. Like this interviewer just said he loves Nick Nocturnal.
r/cringe. That's where you end up. Well, apparently I shouldn't be so cranky sometimes because Idaho is one of the happiest states in the country. They base this on 30 metrics, which include things like life expectancy, ideal weather, number of hours worked. What were the other metrics? Ideal weather is definitely not going to be one of the things leading to Idaho being one of the happiest places in America. I doubt it's a cost of living thing. Life expectancy? People live pretty long around here? And number of hours worked? I don't know. I think a lot of people, from what I've seen on social media, having to put in some extra hours in this day and age. Yeah, I'm very curious what some of the other factors might be. Social well-being? I don't think that outside of Boise, there's that much social activity going on. I mean, I'm sure, there's some, but it's not like we have a very active area as far as events go. Economic security? That seems rough, too. Well, anyway, Idaho's happy, according to this graph. So, stop your naysaying and, cheer up. I don't know. This map doesn't make any sense to me looking at it. So, just wanted to let you know you're supposed to be happy. Thank you again for tuning in to The Victor Welch Show. This program is a production of Riverbend Media Group. To contact the show or for more information, hit us up at riverbendmediagroup.com.